Alright, gang, welcome back to our island preservation here on Ronida Island. It is May, and as you can tell, I went against the grain of what I said I wanted to do. We're going to go with this dark asphalt color. I just really like it. I like the way that it actually brings some of the buildings together. The contrast between some of the buildings we're using and the ground here, I just think it makes it look so much better. With this dark color. You can see I already tried to utilize in a different color here as well, and it was fine. There was nothing really wrong with that. I think it kind of fits a little bit better than this does, but I don't know. For the yard area, I just got to stick with this darker asphalt. Now, there are a lot of different options here that we could have gone through. I should be clear. There are multiple different ones. So it's not the exact same one that I've used in the past, but it's very close to it, right? It's very close to it. So anyway, this is what we're going to go with for the main yard here, at least over on this side. I just really, really like it. So we're going to kind of work towards modifying a bit of what the yard is to be all of this dark asphalt color. Obviously we've spent some money here on the tracks and stuff, but really we're kind of turning this portion over here into part of the yard as well. So realistically, I'll probably turn this whole section here in this area that you're seeing into this dark asphalt, and then the track itself can kind of stay as it is, but it won't start until past the yard area, if that makes sense. At least that's what I'm thinking right now, but I really don't have tons of money to spend right now on that, so I'm not going to focus on that too much at current. Now, today, when we were talking in the past, I did not think there was going to be, well, quite frankly, I didn't think there was going to be a ton for us to do today. Turns out that is the complete opposite of what actually is going to be happening. We've got a lot of things to sell. We've got lots of fields that need to be plowed up and then obviously re-drilled. We've got other fields, like this one, that needs to be harvested, and then we need to combine that field with this here to make an awkward shape. But, yeah, lots and lots to do, as a matter of fact. So, harvesting this is probably the biggest thing I want to get done as soon as possible, because technically some of these other ones, right, they can just kind of wait there for the time being. They don't necessarily have to be done today, but we're going to probably do them today. So, we'll get this field harvested, and then probably work on combining these two fields here, which basically we just got to take away this little strip here so we can combine these two fields together. After that, I don't know. Really, we need another tractor. So I think what we'll do after that is probably sell everything that we have that can be sold, or should be sold right now, I should say, which the crickets, the rice saplings, and then we've got a couple pallets here of clothes as well. Now, the clothes technically I think were best last month, but they should still be pretty good this month, so we're going to go sell them now, because otherwise we're going to be waiting for a whole other year to sell them, right? So, actually, there looks like they're best right now, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, we're going to kind of focus on doing that today. That's our goal or objective. Where am I at? Why am I hidden? I guess there was no room for me to be populated there. I suppose I got a little too close with this one, but anyway, that's our main goal for today. That's what we're going to try to accomplish, and I've got the wrong harvester out first and foremost. I need to go get the other one. We haven't used the other one for a while. Wait a minute. Maybe not. Wait a minute. I might be getting my harvesters confused. Bear with me. Remember, I'm relatively back fresh on the saddle here, so give me a moment here. No, that is only for, looks like, root crop type of things. Okay, so we're good with this then. Okay, never mind. So, anyway, we've got that. Also, we've got these other pallets that are kind of hanging out over here that need to be sold as well. As a matter of fact, not all of them need to be sold. Let's look at those really quick just so I can kind of show you what they are in case you missed the last episode. We've got our soybeans here, which that's probably not until June, so probably next month. But the peas, I think they're now, because our buddy Crustu has saturated the market there. So I think the peas are now. Nope, they keep moving. I swear last month. Did we not look at this in the last episode and it said May? Now it's June. I don't know, gang. We're going to wait until it's the best to sell them. So we're not selling those today. So I stand corrected there. So that's a little less money than we're going to get. But that's all right. How's everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing well. Things are good, man. They really are. Things are good. So tonight I've got a dinner thing, a family dinner thing to go to. It's my great aunt's 91st birthday. So it's pretty crazy. We're going to a relatively nice restaurant, at least in the Cincinnati area. It's a very famous restaurant in the Cincinnati area. A lot of, famous people go to this restaurant. But it's a Cincinnati staple. It's very much a Cincinnati thing. It's a barbecue place. It's called Montgomery Inn. You may have heard of it before. may have at least seen the barbecue sauce. I think they kind of distributed barbecue sauce a lot further away than just Ohio. But anyway, it's a very, very famous restaurant here in Cincinnati. So very excited about that. I don't think I've been to, it's called the Montgomery Inn. I don't think I've been to the Montgomery Inn for 3 years maybe. So I'm very excited about that, but it's a big family event, so there's going to be a lot of us there. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. But yeah, Montgomery Inn, man. I'm a big proponent of barbecue. I love barbecue. I think I'm more specifically, I like ribs are fine. I mean, their ribs are phenomenal. So, you know, if I go other places to get ribs, it just doesn't stand up. But I definitely like, you know, pulled chicken and pulled pork. I think that's my favorite kind of barbecue. But ribs are good too, right? And if we're going to this place, you kind of have to get ribs. They're that good. So, but lots of big names. If you ever go to one, there's technically 2 restaurants. There's one in downtown Cincinnati on the river, which is very pretty. But much, well, I want to say newer. It's not really new at this point, but in comparison to the original, it's new. And then the original is actually in Montgomery. There's a city called Montgomery. It's a suburb of Cincinnati. Relatively kind of old. All the houses are really old, but they're kind of like a Ritchie old, if that makes sense. Not like what you would see today. You know, as far as Ritchie goes, they're not gigantic houses. They're much smaller. But back in the day, many years ago, you know, that was what you would consider, I guess, a Ritchie part of town. Still is a Ritchie part of town, but you get what I mean. They're not big behemoth like mansions and things like that. You're not going to get that here. It's just really old houses that were in a really nice part of town 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago, whatever it is. Probably longer than that. I don't remember when Montgomery was actually incorporated, but anyway, you get the point. So it's a nice area. I'm excited because I don't get to go to that area very often. I really don't. It's about... For us, it's probably a 45-minute drive, so it's not really close to where we live. It's kind of on the east side of Cincinnati, a suburb on the east side of Cincinnati. So I live, you know, like I said, between Cincinnati and Dayton pretty much. And you could argue probably more west side of Cincinnati. But anyway. So it'll be fun. I'm excited about that. I'll let you know how it goes. Let's see, what else? So I talked about a lot of stuff in yesterday's episode, and honestly, the episode prior to that. I'll bring it up just briefly in case you do happen to not watch every episode. But, yeah, the trip to Wisconsin was great. I think I talked about that briefly. The shop that I've been talking about, I've been teasing. It's happening relatively soon. It'll probably be July. I got the shirt that I said I was going to buy because I mentioned it to you multiple times that, you know, I'm not literally putting this up there to make money. I'm basically making no money on it at all. I'm doing it just because I like the idea of having shirts for myself to wear, and if you guys want them, you're welcome to do so, but you certainly don't have to. But I also mentioned during that period of time when I was working on that I definitely do not want to put something up there that I'm not... how do I word it? Proud of is probably not really the word. I'm not happy with. I want it to be good quality. I don't want you to buy something and then you're like, man, this is crap. I just wasted money on this. You know, that's not what I want, right? So I bought one. It worked. It turned out great. It really did. I just wanted to make a few minor modifications to it. It's not. I could have left it up there as it is right now, and I would have been perfectly fine with it, and I would have been very happy with it. And I'm sure all of you would be as well. But I just wanted to make one minor modification to it. So I've done that. I want to buy a second shirt just to verify and make sure that the modification I did didn't cause any other issues. It shouldn't, but, you know, you just never know, right? I've never done anything like this before, so this is all new to me. So I just want to make sure, and I certainly don't want to have anything out there that I would say is bad quality for any of you to purchase if you were interested in it, of course. I was able to keep, I said I wanted to keep the price of the shirt around $30, which basically means I make like $2 a shirt, which, again, fine. I don't really care. It's not for me to make money. That's not the point. So I was able to keep it there. I will say, though, if you do buy a plus size, and that what I mean by that is if it's 2X or higher, 2X, 3X, 4X, whatever, I think I think it goes up from 30. I think it might be $32 or $33, whatever it is, because they have to use more material. And so the company that I'm using to do this, they charge more for that. It's automatic. I don't pick that at all. I put in the amount that I want to charge for the shirts, and then that's how it is. And then if you buy a bigger shirt that requires more materials, the company itself just tags on an extra $1 or $2, whatever it may be, to offset the cost that they need to make that bigger shirt. So hopefully that all makes sense. But anyway, I'm looking to buy the one that I modified here. I'm looking to buy that shirt probably towards the end here of June. I'm just going to wait till my next paycheck and buy it that way. I say paycheck, I'm talking actual work paycheck, not anything I get from YouTube. So then we'll buy that at that point, and make sure that it goes well. Then once I receive that, which should be somewhere early July, we'll make the we'll put the shop live, and we'll see how things go. What I will say is I talked about there's 3 main items I wanted to put in the shop. 2 of the 3, well, there's multiples, but 2 of the 3 items are out there. I've got shirts ready. I've actually got more shirts ready than I said I was going to have ready. I said I was going to be probably like 3 to 5, and it's probably going to be more like 6 or 7, which is good, right? It gives more options for you. And then I've got stickers ready to go as well. So I've got stickers of the logo. I got stickers of some of the shirts in a smaller type of fashion. It won't make sense right now until you see it, but it will once you see it. The other thing I talked about doing, which was really more for me, was to make some kind of posters and stuff, so then I could, buy those and frame them and put them up behind me if I ever decide to do any kind of videos with the camera on, things like that. I just think it'd be a cool addition to the backdrop. So that's more of a selfish thing for myself, but nonetheless, that is not out there yet. The posters are really the last thing that I'm going to worry about. I want to make sure everything else is, proper before I do that. That was long-winded, but just long story short, the shop is nearing completion here, and it'll be out soon. So if it is something you're interested in, or at least want to check out, I'll let you know when it happens. I'm sure we'll say something. I'm sure I'll probably give, I have to figure this out. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm sure I'll give some kind of a discount or something for the first, whatever it is, for the go live launch of it, whatever you want to say. But like I said, I'm making, well, I guess it's slightly over $2. I'm making like $2.80 per shirt. So it's not like I'm gonna be able to pay bills or anything with it. That's not the point. So, but if I can, keeping that $2.80, that gives me the option to be able to give you guys, a discount every once in a while, like the anniversary of, the channel, et cetera, right? Just gives me the option to be able to do stuff like that every once in a while. All right, sunflowers are almost done here. We're almost full, actually, with a full cart here, so we'll have to unload. I'm going to unload right now. Now, the palletizer. I looked at the palletizer a little bit. There is not an option for silage, unfortunately, which we kind of expected that, right? It wasn't like we were really expecting that it was going to be able to do silage and pallets, but anyway, it's not there. So, the short end of the stick here is that we've got all of this grass, all of this silage. We really aren't doing anything with it, and we're not really going to be doing anything with it for a little bit of time here. I'd like to try to change that. So we have $36,000 in the account right now. We're going to get a little bit more from those clothes, as you saw. We're probably going to get close to $80,000 again today, which means we can buy another plot of land. I'd like to do that. I think, against my best judgment, because I've just got back from the trip, like I mentioned, right, and we went to a couple wineries, and I've got a lot of ideas churning through on what I want to do, as I talked about in the last episode, on the side of the hill here, for a winery of some sort, or a vineyard, whatever. I've got a lot of ideas churning that I want to do there, but I think it would be in my best interest to focus a bit here on getting some more animals, more specifically some cows, so we can start actually utilizing some of this grass and silage that we have sitting in there, right? We can start making TMR, etc. Now, another note on that palletizer that I was just talking about, evidently, let's do a quick autosave here, but evidently it has the ability just to store stuff. Like, I can just put stuff in there too, I guess. Well, I mean, I guess I'm not 100% positive, but it looks like I can just, it's mini silo. Barley, right? So I can turn the barley into barley, which it's going to take me forever to roll down. There's a ton of stuff in here, as you can see. Tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff. But, 10,000 barley to 10,000 barley, right? But as you can clearly tell, I mean, it stores 100,000 liters. So, it's almost like it's its own version of a silo, right? I don't really like the idea of just utilizing that as the silo, but really that's kind of what it is. So I guess near term, whenever we do get a harvester, of course, we can just use that as our silo, right? Obviously I want a different silo, but we can use it as a silo for the time being. So I guess we'll figure that out as we move along, I suppose. But that's what that looks like it's going to allow us to do, which is a good thing, I guess, right? All right, the sunflowers are done. A couple of you in the last episode mentioned why don't I just use the trailer to like when I'm far away to load up stuff and bring it back here instead of running it on foot like this. If I would have ever thought about that, if I was ever smart enough to think about that, that would have been a great idea. But it really is a good idea. I don't know why I wasn't thinking of it at the time. Probably because I was just, talking and going through the motions and not really fully thinking, this would be the more efficient way to do it. But I will try to remember to do that moving forward, but I can't guarantee I will every time. But I'll try. I will try. Trying to push this backwards a little bit because I kind of moved it when I was moving this on accident. Okay. All right, so that's done. So I'm just going to do this by hand. I'm just going to pick these pallets up by hand here. Move them over here to what is our temporary storage. Now, one thing I would like to try or attempt to try, and a matter of fact, maybe we should just do it now. Let's just do it now. I don't know if this is going to allow me to store the sunflowers in the palletizer right now, right? I just talked about the fact that it allows some storing here. It does. It does. Okay, well, that's good. So that way I can get some of this stuff out of the open and, not essentially in the middle of all the weather, right? You really want to leave the crop, even though it's in a box like that, you would not want to leave this in the middle of the open, right? It's just not the most ideal thing. So for now, I'm going to move them over here. We're likely going to do 2 episodes here in May just because there's a lot more to do than I initially anticipated there was going to be, right? So we do need another tractor, right? So it's really going to depend on what kind of money we make from the clothes, the crickets, and, of course, the rice saplings, right? We do need another one. We really do. Because I want to start utilizing a worker besides just harvesting, right? Because we're going to start getting a little bit large here for ourselves soon enough, and we're going to have a lot to do. And parts of the time we've already had lots to do, right? But we're going to want to make sure that we're able to use a worker to our advantage to try to help us out in those periods of time when we do need a worker doing stuff, right? Plowing, etc., right? All right, let's see here. I want to get too close, but I also obviously want to get all the way to the end here. Okay, these fields are now combined. The other thing I want to do today is I want to move the rocks. I don't want to paint any of this area until I move the rocks like last time. If you remember, I know a lot of you were yelling in the comments about it. I say yelling. I don't really mean yelling, but, speaking your mind in the comments. So what are you doing? I don't want to remove the rocks again. Now, we're going to have plenty of rocks. I'm not worried about that, but you get the point. I don't want to necessarily get rid of them if I don't have to, right? I installed a couple other mods as well. I'm not sure if we're going to use them or not, but I installed a couple other mods. There's a newer mod that recently came out. Now, to be fair, I've been gone for last week, I guess. I was gone all of last week and a little bit more. Ended up being about 9 days I was gone. So I certainly, I'm sure, missed some mods that came out. I normally every single day try to go in and look at the new mods that have been released, right? Or the recent mods tab, whatever you want to call it in Mod Hub. So I've certainly missed some stuff, but there was a mod out there that I saw that, takes the stones and turns them into cement and plates, roof plates, etc., right? So I went ahead and downloaded that. We might use something larger and bigger when the time comes to start doing that, but I at least have it if we need it. It's not cheap, but it's not expensive either. It's around $30-something thousand, I think. So it's not palletizer cheap, but it's obviously not $100-something thousand like some of the other mods are for doing that. So if we need to be a little bit more frugal with our money, we've got that as an option now. Sorry, gang, I had to take a drink there, and I started coughing in the middle of the drink there, so I don't know if that came off on the, or if that was heard on the microphone or not. If it was, I apologize. Now, the sheep should be relatively fine, I think. Well, actually, you know what? Now that I should look at that now that I say that. Yeah, they're fine. They've got plenty of meadow grass, too. They're fine. But I've got all those, well, most of the grass, I guess, on that trailer there. So we need to unload that, too. So soon enough, we'll be doing that as well. Lots of weeds in this one, so it's a good thing we're plowing this up. But, that was on purpose, right? We left them there on purpose because we knew, after thinking about it a little more, that we wanted to combine these two fields into a very, very weird shape. Depends on which way you're looking at it. Backwards P or a lowercase b, depending on which way you're looking at it. Or a 7. I mean, there's lots of things you could call this field. I guess we'd call it the 7 field. I kind of like the idea of that. This is the 7 field. Although it's pretty large 7 up there. But anyway. Pretty large, I guess, line that way, I guess is what I should say. But you get the point. Lots of rocks coming up on this field. Lots and lots of rocks. So I recently, well, last night actually, I watched the. I'm not going to give any spoilers in case you watch it and haven't watched it yet. But I watched the end of Clarkson's Farm, the newest series, and man, those last 2 episodes were pretty brutal. They were pretty brutal. That is not how I anticipated or what I was anticipating at all from those 2 episodes. And it, I think Jeremy Clarkson put out a post right before they released, that it's a tough watch, and he's not wrong. It is a tough watch. Things were going what I thought was so well, and then, bam. We'll leave it at that. So, if you have watched it, let me know your thoughts down below, but make sure you put a spoiler or something on there if you're going to give any spoilers in case somebody happens to read the comments and has not watched the full season yet. As somebody who grew up watching Jeremy Clarkson and Richard Hammond and James May, it's a tough watch. It's a tough watch. Now, obviously, I grew up watching them in Top Gear, right? When I say grew up, I mean I was a teenager, really, when I started watching that. But still, I mean, before I became a full-fledged adult, I guess is how I will put it, right? I definitely watched a lot of that, so. All right, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to plow this field up too. Yeah, let's just go ahead and get this field plowed up too. Now, this field has grass in it. A lot of you 100% correctly called out, and I mentioned in the last episode, but in case you missed it, the grass field, what we're doing here, it's not making any difference in comparison to doing the oilseed radish, and I can kind of show you that, right? It's 50% fertilized, which is what oilseed radish does. The way that we would have got 100% fertilized is if we would have rolled the field like we were doing and had been doing in the one tile challenge, right? That would be the way to get the 100% fertilization. Eventually, we will get to that point. You could argue that might be the smartest way to go right now, and I would probably agree with you, but I'm not going to focus on doing that yet. That will be a near long-term goal that we're going to be focusing on in a little while. For the current time, the current situation, I would prefer to do a few other things first and foremost, and then do that. So I'm not saying it's going to be a long time. You're probably looking at a handful of episodes or less, but I'm gonna hold off on doing that for a little while. So that's the reason why in the last episode, that field there, and the field in the far distance, we put oilseed radish back in, just because it is a faster turnaround than the grass is. Eventually, the grass will be the way to go, because we'll roll it. But, you know, the rollers for the grass, they're not outrageously expensive, but considering how big we're getting here, I kind of want what I would say is a large grass roller. You know, so 17.5, again, not a terrible price. It's really not. It's relatively inexpensive, as a matter of fact. So maybe we should get it the more I think about it. Those, I don't know why that's in a roller, though. I mean, I guess it does work. I guess it's a mod that works for as a roller. But anyway, yeah, maybe we should get the roller. It's not that expensive. I don't know. We'll see. I've got a lot of ideas that I want to get done, right? So it really just depends on which way we want to aim here. The grass roller probably makes the most sense, as all of you have mentioned, but I think I might end up waiting at least for a couple more months before I do that. Maybe utilize some of the profits we get, you know, from the sunflowers, and the soybeans, and the peas, etc., and buy it with that profit versus, you know, utilizing the money we currently have right now, which I kind of have that already planned for some other things, right? We will see, but that's at least where I'm currently sitting at with all of that. Right or wrong, that's where I'm at. Okay, so we've got a lot of plowing to do here. We've got a lot of stones to pick up as well. Oh, actually, you know what? We've got our little storage for stones, but one thing I didn't think about, can we put stones in here? I bet we can. No, I can't sell them, but you can put stones in here. Okay, so the whole situation that I did with the, you know, the bit of the open air storage there for the stones, it looks like I didn't really necessarily need to do that. I'm still happy that I did that. I'm still going to be doing that. I'm going to leave the stones there. I just like the idea of that. I like the idea of that a lot. But you know, if we really wanted to, I guess we could have utilized the palletizer as the storage there. Now, I think the only negative thing there with the palletizer is that if we do put this stuff in there, right, like stones, for example, which we could utilize to pick up with a bucket and things like that, it's going to put them in a pallet, right? So then we've got to deal with picking them up as a pallet the entire time, which I don't think I'd want to do, right? So I think I'm happy with what we're going to be doing here. I'm happy with the approach of actually just putting them in well, it's technically a manure heap that we're using, but an open air storage like area. I'm actually happy about that, so we'll kind of be okay with that. A little bit of wool over there, not tons, but a little bit, maybe enough to make close to another pallet there. Now, used market, I just caught my eye. There's a couple things out here that we could potentially get. There is this baler, a small baler. It's this little square, you know, bales again. But it would be, you know, nice to have that, I think, because really I could be, nope, get off the worker. It could be technically mowing this up, and I'm sure people are saying, why are you mowing that up? I could be. You're right. I could be mowing this up. We've got plenty of grass. I'm not worried about grass. I'm really not worried about grass. So it's fine. It is what it is. But this kind of caught my eye, right? I think that would be very, very good for us to have as we move forward, because that is going to save and cut down the time it takes for us to travel around and sell things and etc. Immensely, right? It's going to be super fast. First of all, it's going to go a lot faster than the tractor's going to go. It's going to remove some of the wear and tear on the tractor, having to go back and forth to the shop. And it gives us the option for a lot more low loader, longer trailer type of options, which means in theory, we can, take more to the shop and spend less trips going to the shop, right? The other thing that caught my eye, and I think we're going to buy it, even though we're not planning to use it for a very, very long time, is this winch. Eventually we're going to have to start making that dream home, right? And I think a winch is going to be a huge help for us as we move forward here. I really do. I think that is going to be a massive help. Now, that winch itself, I don't think it's the largest winch in the world yet. 70 horsepower, 5.5 tons is all it can pull. I don't know how big some of these trees are. They look like they're just kind of the pine trees mostly. So they're probably not the largest trees in the world. But I don't know, right? I don't know. So would that be a good investment? It feels like at $4,000 it would be an amazing investment, and that I should go for it, even if we end up having to get rid of it or sell it later on. It just seems like it's a smart investment up front, but I don't know. Like I said, we're going to be doing 2 episodes here today in May. There's just no way I'm going to get all this done, even though I was hoping and talking like I was going to. I've rambled for 30. You guys let me go for 30 minutes. Whew. Man, you guys let me talk a lot. I probably should work on upgrading the plow here soon, too, to the other one that we always use. It is what it is, right? I talk a lot about how I like to use different equipment in different series, but, there's always going to be some plows are a prime example where I just refuse to use the other plow. I just don't like them. I just don't like them. I mean, I've got some weird shapes going on here, but I like my corners and everything to be kind of, straight most of the time and not, weird shapes, kind of like the edge of the fields we have here, right? They're weird shapes because they're kind of following the sand there, or the water, or the ocean, whatever you want to call it, right? So those are a little weird, but everywhere else, as you can tell, they're perfectly kind of, well, not perfect, but as perfect as I can do, straight lines, right? So well, I don't know. We've got a lot to do here, gang. That's what I know. We've got a lot to do. Let's get to it. I'm going to get the remainder of this field plowed up. I'm probably not going to plow either of the other 2 fields yet. So when I say the other 2 fields, I'm talking about that one there. And then the one in the far, far distance. We're probably not going to do those today. We'll probably save those for the following episode. So we'll focus on getting these 2 fields kind of set and done today. Now, when I say set and done, I'm not sure we're going to get them drilled. I'm going to get at least one of them drilled. Probably is going to be that one over there in the distance versus this big one. We'll probably save the big one and get that going next month. But we'll at least get the stones up on both of them, get one of them drilled, and then we can go and sell some stuff and probably unload some of the stones into their new area as well, right? Because I'm sure we're going to be full here with these 2 fields. These are large fields, right? So I'm sure we will have a full load of stones that we're going to need to go and drop off, which will be exciting to go and see them in the area. And, well, quite frankly, see how it works with me trying to drop them in there with that. I'm hoping it's going to work out as I'm expecting. If it doesn't, then I don't know. I guess I have to go back to the drawing board, lose a little bit of money in the process, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So let's get the rest of this field done. We'll get the stones up, likely get one of the fields drilled. Hopefully we have enough time to do all of that in this time lapse, and then we'll see about selling some stuff here towards the end of the episode. Well, the cotton planting is underway. Now, problem, I thought we would have no problem putting the stones in that manure heap. It is not allowing us to do it, as you saw. So I had to drop some stones in another location now. Location I didn't really want to put them at, but I had to drop some stones in another location, which is a bit unfortunate, right? So if anybody has any ideas on a replacement for something similar to that, let me know. Perhaps we can just do a standard kind of drive-through silage pit. I don't know if it'll allow us to do that either. I'd be honest, I haven't tried that, but let me know if you have any thoughts or ideas on that. I really like the idea of keeping the stones outside and some kind of a open-air type of squared-off area of some sort. It doesn't necessarily have to be a heap or a pit or anything like that, I guess, but yeah, let me know. Let me know if you know of anything that I could potentially use that would not cause that issue where it tells me I cannot do that here. So, it is what it is, man. There's nothing I can do about it now, so it is what it is. We'll have to remove that and see if we can think of anything else for that. If not, I guess we're just going to have to leave it out in the middle of the open, which is not really what I was hoping for or wanting. Now, another thing I didn't think about when we were in the process here of plowing this field up, and I think we should as we move forward here, and we probably will do it. Obviously, I'm not doing it right now, but we can do that later. I think I might extend this field over into that area over there, right? We kind of said where our yard was going to be. It was pretty much, that's the kind of mostly the tail end of it there. Or if you can imagine the edge here of our rice sapling greenhouse, that's kind of the end of the yard going that way. So realistically, we could just take, you know, this line here of this portion of the field and just extend it to the end over there. I think I probably should do that. So maybe we'll add that to our list of things to do in the next episode, along with multiple other episodes. We are running out of time quickly here for this episode. We are actually almost already over at this point of where I would normally like to stop at, but that's okay. Sometimes, you know, there's nothing for it, right? Sometimes you've got lots to do, so you've got to have a longer episode than you're normally wanting to have. Looks like we're going to have enough seeds in here to get the whole field done, or at least this portion of the field done. I was a little concerned that we wouldn't have enough, but it looks like we are going to have enough. So that's good. Now, like I said, the big cotton field over there, it's not even going to be drilled in the next episode. It will be June before we drill that. I want to offset that field with this one on purpose. I don't want both of them ready to harvest at the same time. Now, realistically, looking at this, you know, we've got this weird shape, more of a B. I said 7, but more of a B. It might be smart. Let me get down here to the end. I'm going to stop, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It might be smart for us to modify the way this field is set. And what I mean by that is it might be smart for us to actually take this line of the edge here of this field. Obviously, we're going to go this way, but kind of go here with it and then cut it here and then do a bit of a weird track over to here. I don't know. That probably doesn't make any sense the more I think about it. Well, it makes sense for this field, but it'll make this field awkward again, and then we'll have some awkward corners and turns as well versus just having this one wide turn here. So maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. I think another tractor, it might be the smartest thing to do right now. I was talking about, you know, all these other things potentially to buy, but I think maybe another tractor might be the smartest thing right now. I just think we really need another tractor. I do think, like I said before, I think this makes a lot of sense. I think that makes sense as well. We can just kind of hold on to them, but I mean, that's 10 grand basically. You know, the tractors, they're not cheap, right? So, I don't really want to get the exact same tractor again. I guess we could, but I don't really want to. So, you know, we really need somewhere in the 60s you know, 60, 80,000 range here. Something down here, one of these down here. I want somewhere in the mid hundreds to almost 200 horsepower here. That's what I'm looking for and hoping for. So I think anything less than that is going to harm us versus helping us, just based off of the equipment that we currently do have, which, to be fair, it's not much, but the stone collecting, right, we can use a worker to help do some stone collecting for us. We can use a worker to help do some seeding or drilling, right? That's really the main pieces of equipment that we currently have that can be utilized by the tractor, right? So trailers, of course, but it's a little less, right? So I think a tractor somewhere in that range makes the most sense. Now, I talked a lot about other things we were going to do with that money, right? And I still kind of want to do that, but it might have to hold off. I do think another tractor right now makes a lot of sense for a lot of different reasons, because we're going to be very close here soon to starting the process of actually getting a harvester too, right? And utilizing that palletizer. So, you know, having a worker doing some plowing or seeding or drilling while we're harvesting, etc., etc., I think it makes sense, right? We're only allowed to use one worker in this series, right? I can't have more than one, so I need to be as efficient as I can be. And one tractor is great, but it's not really allowing me the ability to use workers to try to help speed things up right now, unless we're harvesting, right? I don't have another tractor, so I can't have a worker, you know, plowing a field while I'm drilling a field, or vice versa, right? So I think a tractor, the more I think about it, is probably the most needed item right now, just from the perspective of time management more than anything. So, having said all that, I think we'll maybe put off anything else that we were talking about doing in favor of a tractor right now. And if we get lucky enough and are able to get this one at a bare minimum, which I think we'll be able to, but if we can get this one at a bare minimum, great. If we can get both, again, that's fine. I don't know. I feel like we can get something better than that, though, so I actually think I'm just going to hold off on that. I think we can get something better. I mean, we have our baler already, right, for cotton, right, our cotton harvester, right? So, and there is another baler out there, a manual type of baler out there, if we really absolutely had to have that. We are going to have straw soon enough, so we're going to have to figure something out for the straw, but really I was kind of thinking maybe going for the forage wagon approach versus the baling approach, unless we obviously get a really good deal on a baler. That's one of them, but again, it's a very small baler. But we do have the auto-load trailer, so I guess I can pick them up with that too. But I'm not quite sure how much we're actually going to utilize that anytime soon, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, right? The odds are we're not going to utilize it at all, because we have so much silage in that silage stick. We've got so much grass in that silage stick, and we've got so many grass bales that are still sitting over there for the sheep that it just, I don't think it really makes a whole lot of sense right now. As much of a good deal as it is, I just don't think it's really the smart play. So, yeah, I think I'm going to, I think I'm not going to buy that one. The winch, probably going to happen, but I don't think I'm going to buy that one. All right, come on, Z, turn it. Didn't turn far enough. Way to go, buddy. There you go. All right, perfect. Okay, so the only other thing really to get, actually, you know what? I want to look at the greenhouse here. If this greenhouse is almost done with the rice saplings, there's only 20 liters in there. I'm going to change this output mode to selling, and we're going to sell that today. We're not going to keep that. I'm going to utilize that as another access point to this portion of what is going to be our yard extension, right? And I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. The odds are this area over here is going to be more for productions and things like that. But you never know, right? But anyway, That's what we're going to do, is we're going to sell that. It's not really making us a ton of money anyway. Early on, it was absolutely crucial to have. I don't think we necessarily need it anymore at this point. We don't make tons of money off those pallets. It's a couple $100, right? Which I'm not complaining, but at this point, I don't think we really need a couple $100, right? I think we're good. So, you know, it's nice to have, but, you know, eventually we're going to have some rice paddies and saplings and everything, I guess, but that we'll need. But for now, it's just kind of in the way for what I want to do some stuff over here with. So we are gonna move it, and these are gonna fall. There they go. Yep, I called that. I tried it. It didn't work. So once 11 o'clock hits, which probably won't hit until next episode, but once 11 o'clock hits, we can sell that guy. Get half our money back too. And it's just going to open up this area more, and eventually we're going to get rid of the crickets too, but the crickets are going to stay for a little bit longer. But eventually those crickets are going to go too. Not saying they won't come back, they might, but they're going to go at least for a brief period of time. And that's just going to open up this area tremendously. And now that I think about this, since I can pick these up by hand, I should move these all to the back quadrant here. That's going to make it easier on the pallet forks to get the crickets up here, because the crickets are not liftable by hand. How are the crickets doing? There's enough water in there too. They're good for now. Now we also have to get the clothes on here as well, because we're going to want to sell those, like I mentioned, right? Those are pretty much the best time. Well, they're dropping now, but you know, last month and this month are the best time to sell them. So we might as well sell what we have, because that's going to produce a good chunk of money for us as well. I mean, that's going to produce the bulk amount of money we're going to make off this, as a matter of fact. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. We'll just wheel this out of the way here. And then we'll drive over there and pick up the clothes here. And we'll go sell them and see where we get to money-wise. Just going to drive right across the oilseed radish field. It doesn't really matter at this point. There's no reason to not. It's not going to kill anything. We're going to be plowing it up anyway here in this month. World of fashion clothes. Soon enough, we'll start a fabric operation too, which will, in essence, produce a little bit more from Grandma's Knitwear. If we can send fabric over there first before turning it into clothes. It's a small increase, but it's an increase nonetheless. Now, I didn't paint this whole area up yet because I just didn't really think that it was necessary to do yet. You know, it's not the cheapest thing in the world to paint. It's not outrageously expensive. It's not the cheapest thing in the world. So it just didn't seem like there was really a reason to waste more money yet until we expand a little bit further this way. I'll see you at the shop. All right, let's see what we get out of all of this. And here we go. $77,488. We're up to $114,593, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So, having said all of that, before we end the episode here, let's buy a tractor. We can take it back. Well, as a matter of fact, I'll probably put the Fiat on here, but regardless, we can take one of them back on this trailer, which will save us a trip, right? So, let's unfold this. Okay, and then I'll drive this up on here. Hopefully. Alright, hopefully... no, that's not fully on there. I thought that tire was going to be on there enough, but it's not. We're going to have to realign this a little bit better here. There we go. That's up in the air enough, and this one is up in the air enough. That should work. That should work. Okay, so $114,000. I'm gonna buy this, so it's really gonna be $110,000. I'm gonna buy it. Let's see accessories. What does that do? What is that? Oh, it's like a pickaxe thing. I get it. I get it. Okay. Normal pulley, driven pulley. I'm going to do normal pulley for right now. We're not going to be using it for a while anyway, so I'll do normal pulley for right now. All right, so $110,000. That's, you know, around where I said I was hoping to get. So, it'll probably be a John Deere for me, honestly. It'll probably be... 7810 or the 6250 or 6520, excuse me. Which it's way more expensive if I go with that one. I'll be honest with you, I kind of like the look of this one anyway better, so we'll go with it. You know, I'm not normally a huge twin wheels fan, but maybe we should do some twin wheels. I don't know. You guys know I like the wide tires normally. Probably should get a front loader on it, although I think I'd prefer just get some kind of a wheel loader to be able to pick up all these stones. I think that's going to be smarter in the long run. I think for now we'll just keep it at 75. That still gives us plenty of money, right? Gives us plenty of money. Still have 35,000, which is near what we started with, right? So I'm going to put this on the front. It should let me. Love it, man. Love it. I love a new tractor. Love when it's new tractor day. All right. Hopefully this thing stays up there. It's strapped. It should be fine. It lifted it up in the air, so it shouldn't really have any issues, except for it's a little wobbly there. But otherwise, it's working, right? It's working. So. This is exciting, man. Really exciting. All right, well, gang, we're going to leave the episode at this point. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash the like and subscribe button on the case you've yet to do so. They are free. It helps me out an absolute ton. Thank you to my members for all their continued support. It really does mean the world. There is a link down below if you want early access to videos like this one. Make sure you check out my second channel. Make sure you check out the Discord. Those links are also down below for you. Like I said, keep an eye out over the next, I don't know, 3-4 weeks, something like that. There will be some kind of a notification in regard to the shop that I'm going to be opening up, which, like I said, at least at the start, is really going to have some t-shirts and some stickers in there. But if it is something that you're interested in, I would appreciate it. But certainly don't buy it unless you want to. All right, we're back, and that's that. Thanks so much for watching, gang, as always, and I'll see you next time.